we'll start. So yesterday we had a look at data analysis overview. We saw who a data analyst is, responsibilities of a data analyst as follows, and you know, the list is not restricted to this. So it depends on where you find yourself working as well. But generally, this is what you would find a data analyst do. Qualities of a data analyst are as follows: attention to details, problem solving, creative thinking, analytical skill. Having a good industry knowledge always helps. Effective communication skills and excellent technical skills. So those are the qualities. We had a good run with these keywords yesterday. I think this took a major part of our time, and I hope that those few ones that we couldn't, you know, define yesterday, I hope we did go on to check them out and see what they really mean. Example, functional and non-functional requirement. I didn't get around checking what that means, but I hope we did. And today we'll just look at data analyst tools. And again, the list keeps growing. It's not restricted to this at all. The most popular one being Excel. Excel keeps getting updated, you know, getting improved. And there's a lot that you can achieve with Excel. Just having a very grounded knowledge of Excel itself does get you a job. So it's one to start with. Power Query, it's if function in Excel as well as in Power BI to the best of my knowledge. Those are the two tools that we find Power Query in. And having a robust knowledge of Power Query helps you to really do well in Excel and in Power BI. Power Pivot is in Excel, is also in Power BI. Being able to write scripts in SQL is another good one. Tableau and Power BI have very similar functionalities in that they are very good visualization tools, you know. Visual Studio, where you have the SSIS, SQL Server integration skills, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, Studio. SSRS, I just found today that the R there is reporting. Then we've got SSAS. I can't remember. Okay, analytical, actually. The A is analytical. You've got the Azure, Google BigQuery. You don't have to, you know how to use all of these all at once, to be honest. And you don't have to know all of them before you just having a grounded knowledge in 1, 2, or 3, you know, is a very good place to start. And if you are choosing one, I would say choose Excel. If you are choosing 2, I would say Excel and SQL, or Excel and Power BI, you know, but there's no harm in being able to use as many of it as possible. You just, you know, expands your scope of search, of job search. You put yourself in a very good place when you are comfortable with most of them. And then principles of data analysis. These are the principles. Data understanding. This understanding was what we did for the first couple of days in our data challenge. It's really very key because it's when you understand the data that you are rolling with that you would be able to, you know, manipulate it in the ways that you should. You know, so it might take as much as 50%, not necessarily up to that, but but spending that much time to understand it helps. You know, the Bible says, in all you're getting, get understanding. And then data quality, the quality of the data you're working with has got to be top notch, you know, and that's where we do all the cleaning, remove all the characters that shouldn't be there, special spaces, extra spaces rather, special characters, removing those blanks, removing or replacing them accordingly, working with the right data types. That's where data quality comes in. And it's all data transforming as well. That's what you're doing. You are transforming the data. Data aggregation talks about how you are able to, like the word says, aggregate your data accordingly as well. Please, if you're not talking at the moment, please mute. Then data presentation, how you present your report, your finding. You know, those are the major principles of data analysis. Then we go into data life cycle, you know, and data life cycle talks about from the point of creation of that data or when you captured it, it goes through all these stages, and then to the point where you archive or delete it, you know, that is the data life cycle. So it gets to you, you synthesize it, aggregate it, do all sorts of manipulations on it, clean it, do your visualizations on it to report, and then you store it securely, you know, and then you either you access it, you analyze it, you share it with the stakeholders you are sharing it with. And at some point it gets archived when it's no longer in use, or it gets deleted according to the policy, the data handling policy, you know, of that industry. There's more. So data analytics life cycle. So we start with the objective in mind. What is the objective of doing the report in front of you? So it's always good to ask this stakeholder, what's the reason that I need to do this? Why? So because when the why is very clear, then the rest, you know, the rest of the steps fall in place for you. Why does the business need it? Why does that business question need to be answered? So if we understand the objective, it sets us in a good place. And then understanding your data, very, very key. So you've understood the objective of the system, of the business, then you understand the data that you're working with. And then it is in studying and understanding the data that you would find the defects that you need to deal with, the manipulations that you need to do. You would start picking up on stuff that you need to do with that data. And that's where the data cleaning and all the data transformation, you know, happens. Most Power Query is a very good tool for that. And data enhancement could be something around when you create extra column, you know, maybe something like we've got some profits made by the company on different products. So you've got those profits in number, okay? So you could decide to make an extra column with an if statement. You could decide to put, okay, if the profit made is greater than or equals to a certain amount, then call it good profit. If it's within a certain range of amount, call it medium profit. If it's less than a certain amount, call it low profit. If it's less than 0, call it loss, you know, call it a loss or a big loss. That all of those extra columns that we put into to further help analysis That is all data enhancement, you know. And when you have finished putting in your enhancements, however many you want to put, then you analyze and look when you analyze, that's when you look for the trends, you know, for the patterns, and dig deep into what caused those trends to be. Could it be because of the season at the time? You know, whatever you need to find. Could it be that we've hired more employees now? That's why we've got more profits, you know, just, you know, studying and, you know, digging deep and asking critical questions and, you know, doing some critical thinking there. That is what this part is about. And then visualization talks about the charts, how you use different charts to convey your message, your findings, you know. And this is where you have to know your stakeholders to know what they can digest easily. Some stakeholders prefer to see the numbers, you know, they still want to really roll with the numbers. Some don't want to see the big numbers. They just want to, you know, look at percentages. Are we talking 50% here? You know, they understand that better, you know. And some just want to see the visuals, you know, to really help them to comprehend, you know. And you, of course, you'll be ready with your recommendations. What are you telling them to do about it? You know, what are you suggesting them to do about it? And you have to be ready for the questions that they would ask you as well, concerning the presentation you have given them. So that is, you know, more explanation on data life cycle, data analytics life cycle. Do we understand this? Any questions so far at all? If there is no question, I'll move on. Further, you know, explanation on data analysis stages. Every data analysis stage would always, you know, have that data understanding. It's very important for us to understand what we do, you know, and we understand by looking at each column, everything in details to see how we can summarize that data in one sentence. What am I looking at? Is it the data for an internet account, internet banking, an American internet banking that's run through from 1998 to 2005, you know, whatever you can find on that data that helps you to make up your complete sentence, that is a very good way to understand your data. Then data transformation, aggregation, and data presentation. Those we have already seen in the previous slide. Further, you know, talking about data lifecycle is what this is. So the point where it was captured from the source or created in the database or captured from different sources using ETL tools, Power Query being a very good example. And, you know, these are the types of sources. It could be a PDF, Excel, CSV, Word, web access, SharePoint, SQL, and so on, as many of them, you know. Then we've got the synthesis or aggregation, that's data cleansing, data modeling and transformation, and, you know, using Visual Studio and SQL and so on, you know. And then the storage of it, data warehouse, cloud, data mart, and all of those. Talks about the storage, archiving or purging it must always be in line with the GDPR policy, you know, of that company, and national GDPR policy. It must be in line with it. And then access, how it is shared, how your analysis is shared to the different stakeholders. Okay, that is share publication, sharing with third party, you know, assigning low security level and access. That is easily doable in Power BI, where you can easily assign what each person can see according to different criteria. So from the source, it could be data for every member of SoftNet, but when it is shared, there's a kind of security that's put in such that Deborah would only see her information, not any other person's information. And that would happen with every other person as well. So each person gets to see only what they should be seeing, not the general house's data. It's called row level security in Power BI. I don't know if I believe it should be in other tools as well, because it's a very important aspect of data, keeping data secure. What's this slide? It says item objective. Okay, it's just for the explanation on data analytics lifecycle, to be honest. It's just a repeat of what I've already spoken about. It seems like we are going to really dwell a lot on data analysis lifecycle, which is very important, to be honest, and this goes on to tell us that data analysis cycle, or which is also known as data analytics lifecycle, is a systematic and iterative process that data analysts follow to analyze data and gain insights. It involves a series of interconnected steps to convert raw data into meaningful information, knowledge, and actionable outcomes. The cycle is designed to ensure that data analysis is well-structured, efficient, and effective. The typical data analysis cycle consists of the following stages. Let's see if it's different from anything we've done before. Okay, we define the problem. So the first step is to clearly define the problem or objective of the analysis. This involves understanding the business question or the research goal and identifying the specific insights or outcomes that we are after from the data, and then data collection, getting the data that we need after identifying the problem, and you could get it from probably your database that you use at work, or you could be needing it from various other departments. It depends on, what you are working on. Then we have you've gotten the data now, you're cleaning it and pre-processing it, So that's where raw data is. We get rid of the errors. We find how to replace any missing values. We look through to see the outliers. Those are the ones that are really out of range. Sometimes you might need to remove them. Sometimes you keep them in. It depends on what question you are trying to answer. Then we look for the inconsistencies as well, So data cleaning involves identifying and resolving issues to ensure data is of high quality and suitable for analysis. And then we got the exploration and visualization stage. And this stage, we explore our data using charts, graphs, and other visualizations. Exploratory data analysis, EDA, helps analysts to understand the distribution patterns, and relationships within the data. Okay. Any questions so far around data analyst life cycle?
To me, I think a step is missing here. After you clean the data and you pre-process it, I think there should be the analysis stage before you get to visualization.
I think so too, yeah, because we saw it earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, so a step is missing.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll put that into this slide. I'll look for how to get that step inside here before. That's after data collection. Just around here in the middle here between steps, Abby.
Yes, because you've cleaned the data, then you have to analyze it. Then you get your stuff, and that's what you need to present for visualization.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you. Thanks for following that and pointing that out. Okay, and then we interpret the results, So we interpret the results, and then we go on to make decisions based on the interpretations that we got. And we have to be careful because our interpretations could either make the business more money or cost them a lot of money, So it's not, these processes are not processes that we can rush. And most of the time, the business is on your neck, like, okay, have you finished with that report? Have you did it? Have you done that? But don't ever allow yourself to be rushed, because it's important that even if it is delayed, what you are presenting has integrity, because the more you present work that's not right to them, that's costing them money, the more your work loses value with them, and they won't remember they were the ones rushing you. Okay, so it's always best practice to know how to deal with their expectations. There's a word I'm looking for, such that
Manage expectations.
Manage, yes, that's the right word. Thank you. Manage the expectations so that such that you have time to really sit down and really validate your work well. Sometimes I do work in Power BI, but I check it out in Excel as well, just to be very sure I'm getting the same values in my Power BI report as well as in my Excel report. If there's any discrepancies, I know I have to go back to the drawing board and start afresh. And if they keep asking, why is that report still not ready? Well, it's not ready. Okay, I would rather give you something that's delayed, but actually ready and useful to your business, and not something that would make you throw me out of job. Okay, so communicating the findings, very important. Most of the time, this is where we struggle, as data analysts, because most of the time we are faced with our computers. 90% of the work is done on the computer. So the people skills gets lost on us, how to really communicate the findings is the hard part, that we need to, and it shouldn't be, but we are so comfortable doing the coding and just, preparing this really cool dashboard and using all the cool tools, and we forget that all this work, the long and short of it is that it must be communicated to people. Okay, so that part, we need to make sure we are working on that as well, on our presentation skills. These two are repeated, so I'll move on. Says it's important to know that the data analysis cycle is iterative. And this word we have used a lot in our Scrum studies anyway, meaning that the process may go through multiple loops, a lot of going to and fro and, not getting it right and finding that, okay, no, I've got to go back and do this again before you finally release the end products, to the business, and each iteration refines the analysis and helps to gain a deeper understanding of the data and the problem at hand. The cycle is flexible and can be adapted to suit the specific needs of different projects or domains. Okay, and I think there's so much slides on this life cycle. But yeah, let's take a screenshot of this as well. And I think it's all still the same. That says business. That says business issue understanding, data preparation, exploratory analysis and modeling, validation, visualization, and then presentation. I think this step is also is complete as well, So we can read through was written underneath them. But yes, so, I mean, in your own word, before we round up today's class, I need about 2 or 3 people to tell me their understanding of data analysis life cycle. In your own words, please explain to me the life cycle of data analytics projects.
Okay, I think I'll give it a try. But I want to separate 2 things first. Well, that the data life cycle is different from the data analysis process or life cycle.
Okay.
So the data life cycle is the process the data goes through from creation to when it is destroyed,
Yeah.
or to when it is archived. That's the data life cycle.
Yeah.
So we now have the data analysis life cycle.
Yeah.
Or the data analysis process. So those are the steps you follow when you're analyzing data.
That's right.
So you collect the data, you clean it up, you process it, you clean it up, and I think you store it, and then you analyze it, then you share those results through visualization. Then you now make your recommendations based on that. After you've done your sharing through visualization, you now make recommendations on how they need to tackle those problems. So that's what my understanding is about data analysis.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And thanks for pointing that out. It's really important. Data life cycle is this one, from the point of creating the data to the point when it is deleted or archived, and then the data analytics life cycle is what we have hammered on more, in these last few slides. I need one more person at least to tell me what their understanding is of data analytics life cycle. Did I call names? Let me stop.